Have you ever wondered what it took to become a Spartan warrior? At age 7, children were taken from their families and enrolled in one of history's most extreme training programs. The Spartans believed that hardship created strength, and in Sparta, strength meant survival. When 7-year-old Leonidas left his mother's arms that morning, he didn't yet know that for 13 years he would endure one of the ancient world's most brutal educational systems. He would face hunger, harsh conditions, and intense training, and at the end of those 13 years, he would be transformed into a legendary Spartan warrior. Welcome to Sparta's Agoge camp. You enter as a child, but you leave forever changed. In 1959, an ancient burial site was discovered near Sparta in the Laconia region. British archaeologist Dr. Richard Thompson and his team were excavating a hillside. What they found was remarkable and troubling. 47 skeletons, all male, all between ages 7 and 13. Many skeletons showed signs of severe trauma, broken bones, fractures, injuries consistent with intense physical training. Dr. Thompson described that moment. At first, we thought it was a battlefield burial. But these weren't warriors. These were children in training. The Agoge training grounds were unforgiving. Among the remains, clay tablets were found, written in ancient Greek. Training records. One tablet read, Year 476 BC, Winter Training Cycle. 150 boys entered. Several did not complete the program. The survivors proved their resilience. This is the Spartan way. Modern forensic analysis revealed challenging details. Several skeletons showed signs of malnutrition and stunted growth from inadequate diet. The bones told a story that reveals the harsh reality behind Spartan military excellence. 7-year-old Leonidas was about to become part of this system. Before we continue with this fascinating chapter of history, if you enjoy learning about ancient civilizations and historical truths, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment about our content. Your support helps this video reach more history enthusiasts. Now let's return to ancient Sparta's remarkable story, because the most interesting part is yet to come. 480 BC, ancient Sparta, southern Greece, the most feared military power in the ancient world. But Hollywood movies don't show you the real cost of that power. The cost was childhood itself. Spartan society was built on one principle. The state comes first. From birth, every Spartan child was considered property of the state, not just the family, and the state decided their future. When a baby was born in Sparta, it was examined by the Gerousia, the Council of Elders. According to ancient sources, infants deemed too weak were reportedly abandoned. This practice, while horrifying to modern standards, was part of Sparta's extreme approach to creating a warrior society. But even if you passed that first examination, the real challenge began at age 7, the Agoge, the legendary Spartan training system. For 13 years, from age 7 to 20, every Spartan boy lived in military barracks, separated from family, trained intensively, transformed into a soldier. The Agoge wasn't ordinary education. It was extreme conditioning, limited food, minimal comfort, constant physical training, all justified by one belief. Hardship creates strength, but at what human cost? That's the question history often overlooks. Nikolaos took Leonidas by the hand. They walked through the streets of Sparta. Other fathers were walking with their 7-year-old sons, too, all heading to the same place, the Agoge barracks. Leonidas looked around. Some boys were crying. Their fathers corrected them sternly. Spartans must be brave. Leonidas wanted to cry too, but he remembered his mother's face. He stayed quiet. They arrived at a large stone building, austere, imposing. In the courtyard, about 50 boys stood in lines, all 7 years old, all apprehensive. A man appeared, tall, scarred, muscular. This was Demetrios, the Paidonomos, the trainer. He looked at the boys with stern eyes. From this moment, you are warriors in training. Your comfortable life is over. Your weakness will be replaced with strength. Many of you will struggle, but those who persevere will be the greatest warriors the world has ever seen. He paused. Welcome to Agoge. Nikolaos squeezed Leonidas's shoulder. Be strong, son. Then he turned and walked away. Didn't look back. Leonidas watched his father disappear. He felt a hand on his shoulder. Another boy, same age, dark hair, brown eyes. I'm Alexandros. I'm Leonidas. Are you nervous? Leonidas nodded. Yes, me too. They didn't know it yet, but they would need each other, because what was coming would test them, and only together would they endure. The first order shocked them. Remove your fine clothes. The boys looked at each other, confused. Demetrios commanded, now. They removed their tunics, stood in the cold morning air, uncomfortable, uncertain. Look at you, soft sheltered. We will change that. They were given new clothes, a single red cloak, minimal undergarments, simple sandals. This was their uniform for years to come. You will wear this in summer heat. You will wear this in winter cold. You will learn that comfort is a luxury. Then came the first meal, a bowl of black broth. Plain, barely filling. One bowl, that's it. Leonidas looked at the broth. He was already hungry. This wouldn't be enough. An older boy, maybe 15, walked past, took Leonidas's bowl, consumed it, smirked. What are you going to do about it, little one? Leonidas said nothing. What could he do? Demetrios observed. Did nothing. Later, Leonidas would understand. This was the lesson. Competition. If you're weak, you go hungry. If you're strong, you thrive. That first night, Leonidas lay on the hard floor. Minimal bedding, just stone. He heard other boys quietly struggling in the dark. He didn't cry. He couldn't, because showing weakness meant failure. Have you ever been so hungry and uncomfortable you couldn't sleep? Leonidas felt that every night for years. The next morning, before sunrise, they were woken by shouting, "Get up! Run!" They ran, miles, barefoot on rocky terrain. Their feet hurt. They kept running. If you stopped, there were consequences. Leonidas's feet were sore and bleeding, but he kept running. Alexandros ran beside him. "Don't stop!" Alexandros gasped. "We have to keep going." After running came combat training, real practice fights. Boys paired up, told to compete seriously. Leonidas was paired with a larger boy, stronger, older by a year. "Fight!" Demetrios commanded. The boy struck Leonidas hard. Leonidas fell. His nose bled. "Get up!" Leonidas got up. The boy struck him again. Leonidas fell again. "Get up!" This continued until Leonidas could barely stand. Finally, Demetrios stopped it. "You must improve. Tomorrow you'll be stronger." That night, Leonidas could barely eat. His jaw was swollen. He lay on the floor, pain throughout his body. Alexandros whispered, "Are you all right?" "Not really. None of us are." Weeks passed. The boys learned quickly. The food they were given wasn't enough. They were hungry, deliberately. This was part of the training philosophy. Demetrios explained, a Spartan warrior must survive with minimal resources. You will learn to acquire food cleverly, but if you get caught, you will face punishment, not for taking food, for getting caught. This was the challenge. Acquire sustenance, but be resourceful about it. Leonidas and Alexandros worked together. At night, they carefully acquired food from the village. Bread, sometimes vegetables, once a chicken. They ate in secret, sharing with trusted companions. But one night a boy named Theron was caught. He had taken cheese from a merchant. The merchant brought him to Demetrios. Demetrios was displeased. "You were caught." "I'm sorry, I was hungry." Silence. Demetrios administered harsh corporal punishment in front of all the boys. Theron endured significant pain. After the punishment, Theron was severely injured. The harsh discipline had gone too far. Within days, young Theron succumbed to his injuries. He was only 8 years old. Leonidas watched solemnly. His hands were shaking. Alexandros steadied him. "We have to be smarter. We can't afford mistakes." Leonidas nodded, but inside, he was struggling. How much longer could they endure this? Have you ever witnessed something so harsh that it changes you forever? The boys were learning harsh lessons at far too young an age. Years passed. Leonidas was now 12. He had survived 5 years of Agoge. He was stronger, more disciplined, but something inside him had changed. That innocent boy was distant memory, and then came the crypteia, the secret rite that historians debate to this day. According to ancient sources, when Spartan boys reached adolescence, they underwent clandestine missions. Historical accounts suggest they were sent on nighttime operations that targeted the Helot population, Sparta's enslaved class. Helots were conquered peoples treated as property. Ancient records indicate that Sparta periodically conducted operations against them to maintain control and provide training experiences for young warriors. The historical accuracy of these accounts remains debated among scholars. Some ancient writers describe these as training exercises in stealth and survival. Others suggest darker purposes. Demetrios gathered the 12-year-olds. "Tonight you face a test of your training. Return having proven yourselves." Leonidas walked into the dark countryside. He felt conflicted. He didn't want to harm innocents, but he had limited choice. The specifics of what occurred during these missions remain unclear in historical records. What is clear is that young Spartans returned changed. The psychological impact of whatever they experienced was profound. Leonidas returned to camp that night. Demetrios acknowledged their return. "You have passed." But Leonidas couldn't rest, not from guilt alone, but from the realization he was becoming what Sparta wanted, a weapon, not a person. There's another aspect of Agoge that historians discuss carefully. The mentorship structure. In Sparta, older warriors were assigned younger trainees as mentees. This system, called patriotism in ancient Greece, was common across many Greek city-states, though its exact nature in Sparta remains debated by scholars. When Leonidas turned 13, he was assigned to a mentor, a 25-year-old warrior named Cleomenes, experienced, respected. The mentorship involved intense training, discipline, and, according to some historical accounts, problematic relationships that would be completely unacceptable by modern standards. Historical sources suggest these relationships sometimes crossed boundaries that we would recognize today as inappropriate and harmful. Ancient customs should not excuse what we now understand as exploitation. Leonidas, like many boys in the system, had no power to refuse or complain. The system was accepted as normal. Every trainee experienced similar mentorship, but acceptance doesn't equal rightness. Leonidas felt uncomfortable and violated, though he had no vocabulary for those feelings at the time. Alexandros experienced similar discomfort with his mentor. One night, they discussed it carefully. "Do you think we'll ever feel normal again?" Alexandros asked. "I don't know," Leonidas said. "I don't know what normal means anymore. Have you ever felt that something is wrong, but everyone around you treats it as acceptable? That's what the Agoge system created, normalized harm as tradition. At age 20, the Agoge concluded with a final examination. The trainees, now young men, had to demonstrate their skills, combat competitions, one-on-one matches. Leonidas was paired against his closest friend, Alexandros. They stood facing each other, training weapons in hand. Demetrios, now older, watched. "Fight, prove your worth." Leonidas and Alexandros looked at each other. They had survived 13 years together, supported each other, protected each other, and now they had to compete. "I don't want to do this," Leonidas said quietly. "Neither do I," Alexandros replied, "but we must complete our training." They fought intensely. Alexandros was faster, Leonidas was stronger, they were evenly matched. The match lasted a long time. Both were exhausted, both injured, and then Leonidas saw an opportunity. He could strike decisively, win, but he hesitated just one moment. Alexandros saw the hesitation, and in that moment, Alexandros made a choice. He slightly dropped his guard, allowed Leonidas to land the winning blow. Alexandros fell. The match ended. Leonidas won. Demetrios stood. "Leonidas, you have completed Agoge. Welcome to the warrior ranks." But Leonidas didn't feel victorious. He felt hollow. Alexandros recovered physically, but he and Leonidas were never quite the same. Their friendship was strained, because that's what Agoge did. It tested everything, even bonds of brotherhood. Leonidas became a soldier, fought in battles. He was effective, very effective, because that's what he'd been trained to do. But emotional connection was difficult. Joy felt distant. Love felt impossible. Just duty remained. Years later, he was expected to marry. Continue the Spartan line. He married a woman named Gorgo. She tried to understand him, to know him. "What was Agoge like?" she asked once. Leonidas stared distantly. "It shaped who I am." "Tell me about it." Some experiences can't be adequately expressed in words. He rarely spoke of those years, because speaking meant remembering, and remembering meant feeling. And he'd been trained not to feel. Have you ever experienced something so intense that you can't discuss it, that the words just won't come? That's what Agoge survivors carried, forever. In recent decades, archaeologists excavating near ancient Sparta have found troubling evidence. Remains of children showing signs of harsh treatment, broken bones from training injuries, evidence of inadequate nutrition, skull fractures from accidents or punishment. Modern researchers examining these findings describe them as evidence of systematic harsh treatment. These children endured extreme conditions, not just in combat training, in daily life. Some injuries were clearly from punishment, not training accidents. This wasn't education by modern standards. This was extreme conditioning that we would classify as harmful. The findings have sparked debate among historians. Some defend Sparta's system as a product of its time. Ancient standards were different. They created the greatest warriors. But the physical evidence doesn't lie. The trauma is documented. The remains show malnutrition, repeated injury, and systemic harm to developing bodies and minds. Today, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child prohibits military recruitment under age 18. Children have a fundamental right to education, play, and protection from exploitation. It's international law. But in ancient Sparta, extreme military training of children was law. This was culture, this was tradition, and for centuries we celebrated them. We made movies glorifying them. We called them heroes. But at what cost to the children themselves? Leonidas fought his entire adult life. He fought at Thermopylae. Yes, that famous Thermopylae, the historic battle where 300 Spartans held the pass against the massive Persian army. He died there, age 40. Sword in hand. History remembers him as a hero. But what else was he? He was a child who entered Agoge at 7, endured 13 years of extreme conditioning, transformed into a warrior, and then deployed until his death. The Agoge system lasted for centuries. Thousands of boys experienced it. Many struggled, many survived, but carried psychological scars. Today, child military training like this is prohibited worldwide under international law, but challenges remain. According to UNICEF, approximately 250,000 children worldwide are currently involved in armed conflicts, taken from families, given weapons, traumatized for life. Leonidas's story teaches us important lessons. Tradition doesn't justify harmful practices. Making them strong doesn't excuse systematic harm. Military glory doesn't erase human suffering. Heroes can also be victims of their own systems. If you or someone you know is experiencing any form of abuse, speak up. Organizations like UNICEF, Save the Children, and Human Rights Watch work to protect children worldwide, because every child deserves childhood, not warfare, not exploitation, not systematic harm. Leonidas never got his childhood back, but by understanding his story accurately, we can better protect today's children. Remember, the past cannot change, but the future can. It's shaped by the choices we make today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every week we explore history's complex truths with balanced educational content. And remember, understanding history means examining both the achievements and the costs, both the glory and the suffering. Only then can we learn its true lessons. That's certainly heroism in military terms, but it's also tragedy in human terms. And popular history often forgets the tragedy, only celebrates the glory.